I note that a quorum is present. Without objections, the chair is recognized to call a recess at any time. The committee has gathered today to discuss the aftermath of the Supreme Court decision in Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard and the Students for Fair Admission versus University of North Carolina to explore the future possibilities of college admissions without racial discrimination. The court in a 6-2 decision held that race-based admissions are a violation of the Constitution and a violation of the Civil Rights Act. For too long, the gatekeepers of post-secondary education have treated applicants differently based on the color of their skin. For far too long, within the walls of our educational institutions, generations of Americans have been taught to accept the theory of eugenics as normal. This theory assumes that as a race, black Americans think with their skin, that based on their skin color, they are monolithic in their politics, reasoning, and most importantly, their intellectual potential. Those who do not fit within certain expectations and boundaries are considered traitors to their race. The theory of eugenics has a prescribed baseline of expectations. This baseline accepts as a fact that the white race is inherently and intellectually superior, privileged, and destined to dominate other races. It also views the black race as inherently hopeless, hapless, and forever broken due to slavery 200 years ago. Not taught in our educational institutions is our proud history as national leaders in our love of faith, family, the free market, education, and our country. Americans are always shocked to hear that the black community once led our country in categories of success that all communities sought after. During the 40s to 60s, black men led our nation in percentage matriculated from college, commitment to marriage, and percentage of entrepreneurs over 40%. We had a thriving community of which between 50 to 60% messaged this racist attack of low intellectual expectations. Thankfully, the Supreme Court has recently granted us a major win for equal opportunity and for meritocracy, the two principles essential for the attainment of the American dream. Students across America, whether black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or other, can now realize their potential without fear of overt racial discrimination or subtle bigotry. We're already seeing small changes due to race-blind, merit-based acceptance that are slowing the insidious pace of the radical left's agenda. For example, Columbia Law Review temporarily froze hiring because of the court's ruling disrupted their long-standing practices of selecting senior editors based on race versus merit. Columbia Law Review has since resumed hiring without unfairly discriminating, and hopefully more law schools will follow this example. As our nation celebrates the Supreme Court's ruling, we must remain diligent in identifying those who are defiant, those who, despite the Supreme Court's ruling, are determined to implement unconstitutional policies of affirmative action. There remain administrators who have expressed their intent to selectively ignore both the substance and the spirit of the Supreme Court ruling. Americans should never accept this subversive attempts to preserve race-based admissions, and I promise you, this congressional body will not. Chief Justice John Roberts was very clear when he wrote, and I quote, "Despite the dissent's assertions to the contrary, universities may not simply establish through application, essays, or other means the regime that we hold unlawful today. What cannot be done directly cannot be done indirectly. The Constitution deals with substance, not shadows, and the prohibition against racial discrimination is leveled at the thing, not the name. So let me repeat, and I quote, what cannot be done directly cannot be done indirectly." So those institutions who think the Supreme Court ruling is a pretty please ask, this committee will keep a close eye on the 2024 application process as it unfolds. Racism, hidden or overt, will not be tolerated by this oversight body. Today's admission process must not resemble yesterday's. Further, we will watch as the rulings disrupts the landscape of other race-based institutions across America, as they have been also put on notice. The Constitution is colorblind. Civil Rights Act is colorblind. In these tumultuous times, we should all be grateful that our democracy is steadfast, dedicated to treating everyone equally under the law, regardless of race, creed, color, or zip code. With that, I yield to the ranking member's opening statement. Ms. Scott.
Thank you, Chairman Owens, and thank witness.